While most Americans were worried about the government shutdown, something unprecedented was happening behind closed doors. The U.S. Treasury just handed Argentina $40 billion. Not a loan that went through Congress, not a deal that was debated on the news, a secret bailout using money most people don't even know exists. And here's what makes it even more disturbing. Argentina's currency has lost over 200% of its value to hyperinflation. The peso is essentially worthless. Yet somehow, we're being told this is a brilliant investment. The Treasury Secretary calls it a strategic partnership. Wall Street insiders are celebrating. But when you follow the money trail, you'll see exactly who benefits from this deal and why American taxpayers are the ones left holding the bag. The money didn't come from Congress. It didn't come from the Federal Reserve. It came from something called the Exchange Stabilization Fund, and most Americans have never heard of it because it operates completely in the shadows. This fund was created back in 1934 during the Great Depression, when President Roosevelt literally changed the price of gold overnight. He declared that gold was now worth 70% more than it was the day before, creating billions in profit for the government. But instead of letting Congress spend it, Roosevelt locked it away in a secret fund that the Treasury could use without any congressional approval whatsoever. For 90 years, this fund has been sitting there, only used a handful of times in history. They used it to bail out Mexico in 1995. They used it during the 2008 financial collapse. They used it during the pandemic. And now they're using it again, but this time for something far more questionable. The Treasury is buying Argentina's pesos, giving them US dollars in return, and holding onto a currency that's melting like ice in the sun. If those pesos lose value, and they are losing value every single day, it's the American taxpayer who takes the hit. This isn't theory. This is exactly how the mechanism works. Here's where things get really interesting. Scott Bessent, the current Treasury Secretary, spent decades working for George Soros at the Quantum Fund, managing billions of dollars in currency trades. He made his fortune betting against currencies, including the famous trade that broke the Bank of England in 1992. Now he's on the other side of the trade, using taxpayer money to prop up a failing currency. But that's not the most suspicious part. Several hedge funds with deep connections to Bessent and Soros have billions invested in Argentina's bonds. Funds like Discovery Capital, run by former Soros managers, bought massive positions in Argentine debt when it was trading as distressed, meaning the bonds were so risky they were selling for 25 to 35 cents on the dollar. These investors made a bet that Argentina's new president, Javier Milei, would fix the economy with his radical spending cuts. Remember all those videos of him taking a chainsaw to government bureaucracy? That was the pitch. Cut the waste, stabilize the economy, and those worthless bonds would become valuable again. But it didn't work. Inflation stayed above 200%. The peso kept collapsing. Those bonds fell another 30%. Every single day, the portfolios holding Argentine debt were bleeding money. Some very powerful people were losing fortunes. Then suddenly, out of nowhere, the U.S. Treasury steps in with $40 billion to stabilize the currency. No congressional vote, no public debate, just a direct intervention that happens to save the exact same funds and investors who made losing bets. Now, is this illegal? No. Is it a massive conflict of interest? You decide. But here's what we know for certain. The people who orchestrated this bailout have direct financial ties to the people who benefit most from it. Javier Milei ran for president of Argentina, promising free markets and zero bailouts. He literally campaigned against the kind of government intervention he's now receiving. His whole platform was built on cutting spending, eliminating waste, and letting the market work without state interference. Investors loved it. Wall Street poured money into Argentine bonds, betting that Milei's shock therapy would turn the economy around. He did slash government spending by 50%. He did freeze money printing. He did dismantle huge parts of the bureaucracy, but the economy didn't respond the way everyone hoped. Inflation is still crushing ordinary Argentines. The peso is still in freefall despite the central bank spending billions trying to prop it up. And those bond investors who bet big on Milei's success? They're sitting on massive losses. Argentina's 2035 and 2041 bonds, which make up most of what Wall Street holds, are trading at distressed levels. The country's risk premium, which measures how much investors charge to hold its debt, has skyrocketed. Translation: The market thinks there's a very high chance Argentina won't pay back what it owes. So what happens when powerful investors are losing billions and the economy they bet on is failing? Apparently, the US government steps in to save them. And the wildest part is that none of this was supposed to happen. Milei's entire philosophy was that governments shouldn't bail out failures. Yet here he is, receiving one of the biggest bailouts in modern history. President Trump made something very clear during Milei's visit to the White House. He said if Milei doesn't win re-election, the support ends immediately. Those were his exact words. The $40 billion, the currency swaps, the whole deal depends on Argentine voters delivering the right result. Think about what that means. The United States is openly interfering in another country's election by threatening to pull financial support if the people vote the wrong way. That's not democracy. That's economic blackmail. And it gets worse. Treasury Secretary Bessent invoked something called the Economic Monroe Doctrine, essentially declaring that the U.S. has the right to control economic outcomes across Latin America. He said that elections in Chile and Colombia depend on what happens in Argentina, as if voters in those countries should base their decisions on whether American hedge funds make money. This isn't about helping an ally. This is about making sure certain financial interests don't lose their investments. And when Trump openly admits that support is conditional on election results, he's telling the world that American taxpayer money is being used as leverage in foreign political campaigns. Here's the question you should be asking. If this is such a good investment, why does it require political conditions? If Argentina's economy is really turning around, why does the bailout only work if one specific politician stays in power? The answer is obvious. This isn't an investment. It's a rescue package for Wall Street dressed up as foreign policy. There's a bigger picture here that explains why the US is willing to gamble $40 billion on a country with a history of defaults. China has been quietly building influence across Latin America for years, lending billions to countries like Argentina for infrastructure projects, power plants, railways, and nuclear facilities. Argentina joined China's Belt and Road Initiative in 2022 and signed currency swap agreements that let them trade directly in yuan instead of dollars. That's the real threat. Every country that moves away from the dollar weakens America's financial dominance. And China isn't just offering money, they're offering an alternative system, one that's increasingly backed by gold instead of US debt. So when you see the US stepping in with $40 billion for Argentina, it's not charity. It's a countermove in a global financial chess game. China wants to pull Latin America into its sphere of influence, and the US is trying to keep the region dependent on dollars. Argentina is the test case. If this works, you're going to see the same strategy rolled out in Brazil, Colombia, Egypt, Kenya, and every other country that's been taking Chinese infrastructure loans. The goal is to keep these countries from abandoning the dollar and joining China's gold-backed system. But here's the part they're not telling you. This strategy comes at a direct cost to American citizens. While the Treasury is spending billions to protect the dollar's global role, regular Americans are dealing with inflation, job losses, and an economy that's struggling to recover. The government says there's no money for infrastructure at home, no money for healthcare, no money for education, but apparently there's $40 billion available to bail out foreign countries and save hedge fund investments. American farmers are furious, and they should be. Argentina is a direct competitor in global agricultural markets, especially for soybeans and beef. While the US government is handing Argentina $40 billion, Argentine exporters are undercutting American farmers by selling soybeans to China at prices US producers can't match. Earlier this year, Argentina suspended export taxes, making their products even cheaper on the world market. And now President Trump is talking about importing Argentine beef to bring down meat prices in America. That might sound good if you're buying groceries, but it's devastating for cattle ranchers across the country who are already struggling with rising costs and falling prices. Here's the reality. The US is subsidizing a competitor while American farmers get nothing. The bailout is propping up Argentina's currency, which should actually make their exports more expensive and level the playing field. But that's not what's happening. The peso is still falling despite US intervention, which means Argentine products stay cheap and American farmers keep losing market share. And if the peso collapses completely, which economists say is likely, American taxpayers are the ones who'll cover the losses. The Treasury is holding billions in pesos that are losing value every day. When those losses come due, they'll be paid for with new government debt, which means higher taxes or more inflation down the road. So to be clear, you're not just paying for a foreign bailout. You're subsidizing your own competition and setting yourself up to pay for the losses when it all falls apart. Argentina is just the beginning. Treasury Secretary Besant has already hinted that this currency stabilization model will be used again in other countries. There are rumors that Brazil could be next, then Colombia, then Egypt, then Kenya. Every country that's drowning in Chinese debt is now a potential candidate for U.S. intervention. And every intervention means more taxpayer money being used to prop up foreign economies and save private investors. Here's what this really means for your money. The U.S. government is already running multi-trillion-dollar deficits. The national debt is exploding. Interest payments on that debt are becoming one of the biggest items in the federal budget. And now we're adding tens of billions more to bail out foreign countries in the name of protecting the dollar. But protecting the dollar from what? From the natural consequences of decades of money printing, deficit spending, and financial mismanagement. The dollar is losing value not because of China, but because the U.S. keeps creating more of them. And instead of fixing the underlying problems, the government's solution is to spend even more money propping up the system. If you're holding dollars, you need to understand what's happening. Every bailout, every intervention, every currency swap dilutes the value of the money in your pocket. The government can call it strategic investment or financial diplomacy, but the result is the same. Your purchasing power decreases while connected insiders protect their investments. So what should you do? First, recognize that this is not a one-time event. The Argentina bailout is a template that will be repeated. Second, understand that your dollars are being used as collateral in a global financial war that has nothing to do with your interests. Third, consider diversifying out of assets that depend on the dollar maintaining its current value. That might mean holding some gold, some foreign currencies, or assets that aren't tied to U.S. government debt. The people orchestrating these deals know exactly what they're doing. They're protecting their positions while the costs get spread across millions of taxpayers who have no say in the decision. Don't let yourself be the one left holding worthless pesos when the music stops. The game is rigged, but that doesn't mean you have to play by their rules. Protect yourself, stay informed, and remember that every time the government says they're helping foreign countries, ask yourself who's really benefiting and who's really paying, because the answer is never what they tell you on the news.